Hello lads, welcome to another installment of Holy Shit, how did I end up watching so much garbage? I started the month off by watching Bowling for Columbine. I'd heard about Michael Moore for ages, but never got around to watching anything by him. But I really love this. It was weirdly one of the most violent things I've ever seen. It's not all blood and guts, obviously, and I wouldn't say that Michael Moore adds any scenes that are gratuitous or insensitive. There's some footage of the Columbine shooting itself, for example, but nothing that would traumatize the viewer, if I remember correctly. But in the beginning of the film, specifically, there's a montage of people shooting themselves or being shot, and I hadn't seen anything like it since the Live Leak days, so it did take me by surprise. But regardless, Michael Moore really does hone in on this huge problem from all angles. He talks about the media, the fear instilled in people, the racism, the economy, and the gun fanatics. He compares the numbers to other similar developed countries and really tries to get to the bottom of what it is about America that makes them the murder capital of the world. And in the end, I think some of that question is answered, and it is deeply saddening but eye-opening as well. The whole thing is edited really well and well-paced. I don't think I was ever truly bored by it. And I also really enjoy the whole guerrilla-style interviews where Moore tricks someone into having an interview with him. Good stuff. I followed that up with Senna, directed by Asif Kapadia. I thought it was fine. It was enjoyable enough while it was on, but by the end it didn't really feel like I knew who this person was. Senna, not the director. A lot of it focused on the feud that went on for a while between Senna and his teammate, Alan Prost. And he was a little cunty. I liked him. Maybe a documentary about him would be more interesting. And the feud itself was pretty interesting, but I think they focused on it for a little too long and not enough on Senna himself. I think the documentary would have really benefited from some more interviews with his family and the people that spent the most time around him, who really knew him back then. But I did think it was solid, and I'm not mad I got this. Then I watched Stories We Tell by Sarah Polley, and this was fucking amazing. There was something so playful and light about it. The whole thing is the seemingly thrown together set of interviews about the director's mom, a little known actress from Toronto who died from cancer when Sarah, the director, was really little. And she asks people about her mom and her mom's career and personal life as a way to find out who she was and what she was like. And it was just so well done. It all felt very authentic and I found it incredibly heartwarming by the end. It just oozes with charm and I really loved all the plot twists. I'd highly recommend it and advise against going on the director's Wikipedia page because it spoils the whole thing. Then I watched Novocaine and Nobody, two very similar movies in a way about seemingly normal dudes getting into life-threatening trouble. And and here's the thing, they kind of suck the same amount for different reasons. I watched Novocaine not even a month ago and I can barely remember anything about it. It was so forgettable. But I do have to admit that it was charming at points and Jack Wade did his thing. I think he's been picking some questionable projects this year and that Companion was also a letdown. But at least he's getting work, I guess. The thing is, the script just really needed some polishing. It starts out well enough, but by the end I was hoping it would have ended an hour earlier. Some of the dialogue is just garbage and the humor is extremely hit or miss. It also doesn't look very good. But I'd recommend it if you're a Jack Wade diehard. Now, Nobody was silly in a different way. It took itself way too seriously. It looks way better than Novocaine and some of the action is actually pretty good. The first set piece on the bus I thought was pretty great. I liked how gritty and realistic it all was. And they spent a good amount of time in the beginning fleshing out this character and his shitty life. But the second half was really weak. It becomes really generic, filled with shitty one-liners and bad music. Bob Odenkirk definitely deserved better. Then I watched Bring Her Back, which was a breath of fresh air. This one was directed by the Filippo brothers, the Australian YouTube lads I never watched on YouTube itself, but whose last movie I loved. I thought Talk to Me was loaded with energy and some genuinely creepy visuals. Really good time. Now Bring Her Back is a very different movie. Like Talk to Me, it focuses on grief as well, but this time in a much more somber tone. It's funny seeing the mom from Paddington being such a batshit, mentally unstable foster mom in this one. That woman's got range. The movie itself is a bit slower, but never boring. It looks fucking incredible, and the sound design is really solid. There's a great mystery throughout the whole thing that really has you scratching your head and trying to figure out what's going on. I'd really recommend going into this one as blind as you can. Then I watched I Love You Man. I got the itch for this movie after being disappointed by Friendship last month, and it's just such a good time. So many awkward and sweet moments. Jason Segel and Paul Rudd have such great chemistry that it just puts a smile on your face. Banger, doesn't disappoint. Then I watched Salo. For what reason? I couldn't tell you. I can't actually. My friend John came over and I wanted to put on the worst movie imaginable as a bit. And it's just not great. There's a lot of poop and butts. And it's full of nudity by all these underage looking kids. And it's not even shocking. You'd think a movie like this would just be as shocking as possible, since it seems to be its MO. But instead, it's just boring and tedious. The same scene happens about 8 different times and adds nothing to the story or the movie as a whole. I don't recommend this one. I think you should skip this one. Then I watched Slither by James Gunn. I wanted to prepare for Superman, I guess, and this was one of the only movies I hadn't seen by Mr. James, and it was fine. Really a movie of its time. The CGI is bad, but thankfully there's some practical effects that actually look pretty good. The performances are bad, but the script really needed some work. I wasn't such a fan of the story itself. Then I watched Malcolm X by Spike Lee, and man, this was a beast of a movie, clocking in at just over 3 hours and 20 minutes. I loved it. I thought it kind of wound down during the third act, which I don't think should have happened since there was so much tension in his life at that point. Oh, I have to go. Okay, I'm back. So, as I was saying, I thought the movie wound down during the third act, and I don't think that should have happened since there was so much tension in Malcolm X's life at that point. But the first 3 hours were phenomenal, just story beat after story beat. It was beautifully told and beautifully shot. Denzel kills it, and it just really made me want to watch more Spike Lee. I think I've only seen this and Do the Right Thing, which is a masterpiece. I'm really excited for their new movie together, and it's a shame it's not getting more buzz. And then I watched Superman, same day, believe it or not. Very different movie from Malcolm X. Good time. Not a masterpiece, but a genuinely fun watch. I thought it really captured the spirit of Superman really well. But I have a review video if you want my full thoughts on it. Then I caught Opera. Funnily enough, my first Dario Argento movie, but it won't be the last. For a horror movie, this shit is shot so fucking well, it's actually mind-boggling. There's so much care to the cinematography and the edits here, I loved it. Most beautiful horror movie I've ever seen, and at times actually chilling. Some disturbing imagery for sure. I followed that up with something lighter, 2021's West Side Story by Spielberg. And man, this thing is stunning. Set design, massive. Costumes, sick. Dancing, incredible. Ansel Elgort shouldn't be here. 8 out of 10, let's move on. I liked West Side Story so much I wanted to keep the musical run going, so I caught Chicago for the first time, even though my girlfriend's been trying to get me to watch it for 5+ years apparently. And I was really impressed. The sets went hard, the lighting coordinator definitely got a raise after this, and the performances were stellar. I feel like I haven't seen Richard Gere in 20 years or so seeing his face put a smile on mine, he really stole the show. Some very funny moments in this. It didn't quite stick the landing for me. There were a few pacing issues here and there, but man, what an ending. Then I watched I Know What You Did Last Summer, which was so bad. God, it's such a waste of time. The 97 version is much better. Then I watched I'm Still Here from 2010. Funnily enough, this is one of 2 things Casey Affleck has ever directed. And man, how do I even describe this? It's too bad it's gone so under the radar because this is essentially a mockumentary of Joaquin Phoenix quitting from acting and going into hip-hop back in 2008. I wasn't alive when this all went down, which is too bad, but I assume some people smelt the bullshit and others definitely thought it was happening for real. And it's a mixed bag. Some of it is fucking hilarious. It's got a real Nathan For You energy. There's one scene in particular where Joaquin is showing P. Diddy his album, and it's the best thing in the whole thing, hands down. That and him rapping a whole verse to his friend. What's impressive is that he never ever breaks. But a lot of it is also him yelling at his friend about loyalty, and that same friend showing everyone his dick because everyone thinks it's so huge. So yeah, it was interesting. Then I watched Nosferatu the Vampyre by Werner Herzog. I want to get through all the Dracula movies and all of Herzog's filmography eventually, so I'm glad I caught this one. But I gotta say, I was a bit disappointed. I feel like this one gets a lot of hype, and it was good, but I just expected it to be less campy, I guess. Nosferatu is such a little freak in this one. Definitely recommend watching this one with a couple friends, if you have any. Then, The Materialists. Not as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but not a huge fan either. I watched Mountainhead after that, and it was such a letdown. But at least it got a little funny at the end. Such a waste of a good cast and a great director. To cleanse the palate, I put on Inside Llewyn Davis, which I've been meaning to watch for years now, and damn am I glad I caught it. This movie is so fucking good. It was directed by the Coen brothers back in 2013. The film's about a folk musician in the 60s trying to make it in the music industry after going solo. There's so much I can say about it, but I highly recommend going into it blind. I will say that I loved the whole feel of it. It's got this dark blue tinge to the whole thing that makes it so cool aesthetically, as in the opposite of warm. It's one of those movies about nothing that doesn't need much of a story, it's just the performances and the direction of the whole thing is so fucking good. Every scene slaps. The cat's one of the main characters, and there's a John Goodman cameo. I mean, what else do you need? Then, I guess I had to go back to watching garbage because I put on Halloween from 2018 from whatever reason. Directed by the dude who brought us Pineapple Express. Isn't that weird? This was straight butt cheeks. I've got nothing else to say. The script is so fucking bad. There's one scene where a character goes into a house and starts calling out for her grandmother. But instead of saying grandma like a normal person, she goes, grandmother? Grandmother? I finished the month with a John Waters flick, Cecil B. Demented, and this might be the best movie ever made. The story's amazing, the characters are so unique and weird. The main set, their little hideout is really strange in the best way, and there's some genuinely laugh out loud moments. The whole thing feels like it was filmed by a high school student, since the script is so ridiculous, but it just adds to the campy vibe. Definitely gonna check out more John Waters after this one. And that's it! What did you watch this month? Let me know what you think of these movies and give them a rating out of 11. Thanks for watching, and before